Go ahead.
A lot of us also, I should mention, joined the Boy Scouts. And the Boy Scout leader was a brother of some of the fellows that joined, you know, friends of mine. He was quite a bit older than they were, but he was their older brother, Saul Cordova. And as far as I ever got was I become first you're tenderfoot when you join. Then you have to do certain things, and I guess the toughest thing you have to do is I think it's, if I remember right, it's a 19-mile hike, and camp out overnight, and then you have to hike somewhere and come back, you know, you have to hike somewhere and make a fire and do stuff, and then I think you may stayed overnight there too, and then hike back. And we use the LA River where we start, and then we went up to some hills called Camp Arthur Lett, I think is Arthur Lettuce or Arthur Lett.
Was it all cement back then?
No, it was all, you know, just a regular river. Just like it would be. Not a lot of water in it most of the time, but it was a wide river. So we'd go down there, and you have to build a fire and cook, and you know, there's certain things each time but the final thing is this 19-mile hike. And then if you do all that, you become a second-class scout. Then you have to do more things to become a first class. Then you get what they call merit badges. You do special things. When you get so many merit badges, you become a, what is it?
Eagle?
What is it? You've been called what, the top scouting?
Eagle Scout.
Yeah, I become an Eagle Scout, you're right. Well, I never did get beyond second class. Most of us did. Because all we did, the normal meetings were held at the grammar school. It's like in a big empty room, you know. And all we did was play. He was a terrible instructor. We'd play Steal the Flag, which is a game with two teams. We'd play, and we played games inside of this place. And one of the games we played was Sink the Battleship. And you have two teams of about 6 or 7 guys each. And you turn, and you bend over, and you grab the guy by the waist, so you make a long, like a train, you know? And then the other team, you run, and using the back guy, you put your hands on him, and go forward, and land on the back of the guy, and that's the battleship. And everybody on your team tries to land and sink, and when these guys collapse and fall on the floor, then you sunk the battleship.
Oh my God.
Which,
These games all sounded like they were...
far, and he's on top of you, and he slides off, and you know, it's all...
all these games sound like they're pretty harsh on your back.
Well, they're harsh on you physically, well, they weren't. And we played another game, and I don't even remember what the object was, except I remember you did it with all the lights off. So you're all in a dark room. You can't see your head in front of your nose. And you're crawling around, and you're supposed to do... I know it ended up with guys getting scratched and hit and scream, holler. But that's about all we did. We after we got to second class, we sort of stopped in a way. He never did send anybody to the awards where people become Eagle Scouts, the honor.
Did you do your 19-mile hike?
Oh yeah, I did the hike, sure. We played a lot in the LA River. We'd go down there and play games. We'd go hunting for rabbits. We'd go, one Christmas, I remember they had carloads of Christmas trees, you know, that they came from the north, and they didn't sell all the trees. So the siding, the railroad yards there, one of the tracks went right along the river, you know, and so they just
dumped them.
Route the cars over there and dump them all out of the box cars and just dump them over the side of side of the box car doors right over into the river, you know, the river bed. And so we went over there and we got all the Christmas trees and we made a big pile at each end, and then we made a bridge across from one group to another, and then we played like King of the Mountain. Only we played it on the King of the Bridge,
right?
Where you start the bridge, cross the bridge, and then one guy is trying to take over the bridge, and he's throwing everybody off. The biggest guy.
Into the water? Was there any water in the river?
Oh no, it's sand underneath it. We'd be maybe as high as the light there, maybe 5-6 feet off the ground at the most. You couldn't really get hurt bad. You fall in the sand.
Right.
But we played that by the hour. They're king of the mountain, king of the bridge. Jack Colby was a guy that I grew up with. He was bigger than the rest of us. He had a big, strong, beefy body, a little fat maybe. And he became a high school football star, fullback actually. And he, if I remember right, he always seemed to end up as the king of the mountain. He was tougher than we were. But we'd made it all out of, not fully trees, but you know how Christmas trees are wrapped?
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's how we made the whole thing.
Right.
We never cut the wrappings. We just took the whole trees and built things on them. And there also, that LA River, there were horses down there. People had horses, some people. Because my friend Gia, he used to go down there when he was just a kid and draw pictures of horses. I still have some of the pictures he drew.
They kept them down there?
Huh? Yeah, they kept them in the LA. The river's was a wide river, and it was just a little bit of water 90% of the time.
But people didn't own any of the property in there, did they?
No, it was just, public lands. And people go down there. Hobos hung out there once in a while, You camp down there. We'd go down and spend the night sometime, go out camping, like kids would do. And one time, and I think it was in '39, when the LA River, I saw it from bank to bank, eroding it.
Wow.
Tore out railroad tracks and everything that were somewhere.
Where does it feed from?
Huh?
Where does it come from?
Well, it came from the mountains. In San Gabriel Mountains, there was north of us, and in the mountains, there was a dam.
Oh, wow.
And a dam broke, and they had built a bunch of houses just near it below the dam. San Marino, I think, is the name of the place. I couldn't be wrong about that. And the flood came and it tore houses. I saw houses floating down the LA River.
Jeez.
I mean, and we saw a horse out there and drowning. I seen dogs drowning in the LA River during that flood particularly. Man, it was a terrible flood. People lost everything,
Was there any warning? Did you know it was coming by the time it got there?
Well, we knew
Did it all come through
we
at
had
once?
heard
Was it a
that
flash flood?
we heard that no, it had been raining for quite a long time, and
So
we
the river
heard
was
that,
already swollen.
Yeah, and the river and the dam got full, and it couldn't hold the water, and so
did
the
it just
dam,
overflow or did it burst?
It burst.
Wow.
And it was an earthen dam, It wasn't like
Right.
a cement dam. It was just a big earthen dam, and it got a hole in it, and all that water just started streaming through. And we knew that it was flooding. That's why we went down to the river to see what was happening. And it was everything going down that river. And it was really interesting. And then
Did you see Mark Lively and Speedy on the top of the house?
Well, that's where I got the idea. Yeah. And then another time, there was a French bakery near Figueroa, and it was on the other side of the river than I lived on, and there was a road that went, a river called Riverside Drive that went right below, along the river below the mountains, the hill, Elysian Hills. There were no houses in Elysian Hills, it was just the hills, and then the road, and there was a few houses on this side, but not very much, because the road went pretty much all the way, and there was a bakery right near Figueroa, right before you get to going into Los Angeles. And a big landslide, it had been raining for a long time, and a landslide took place in Elysian Hills, and the land slid down and went right and hit the bakery and tore a bunch of the bakery up. There was a big landslide, and that was a big event too, We went over there and watched the landslide. And so a lot of things like that I remember took place. It was an exciting life, for kids.
Sure.
It wasn't a bad life. I told you about how in the Bacon lot we built caves. I think I mentioned it last time, didn't I?
I don't remember caves.
Well, we dig there were a lot of vacant lots where I lived. You know, you'd have 4 or 5 houses or 6 or 7.
Is that because the area
Then a
wasn't,
vacant lot and a couple, 3 more houses and a vacant lot and another house. And,
was it just that the area wasn't very prosperous? Is that why?
well, it was a poor area, but they didn't build like they do today where they go in and subdevelop.
Yeah.
Everybody built their own house.
Right.
And every house was built different.
Right.
And so you didn't have, you know, a vacant lot. Somebody would say, I'd like to go live there. He'd buy the vacant lot maybe from
Right.
somebody and build a house on it. And the house I lived in, of course, was not my house. It belonged to my great-grandfather, I guess, originally. But he owned the property. But anyhow, we'd go down towards San Fernando Road. There was a couple vacant lots. And we'd dig a big, not like a trench, but a big hole, you know, squared out, and about 3 or 4 feet deep, you know, big hole.
Like a foxhole.
Yeah, and then we would cover it with plywood or scrap we could find. Then we'd put dirt back on top of it so nobody knew that we had
We used to do that.
a place down there to hide or club. One day, Miss Moscato, who was the mother, no, I think she was the grandmother of Paul Moscato, who was a friend of ours, who helped us build. She was looking for him. She came down there and she fell through the roof.
Oh, no.
And broke her leg.
Oh, no.
And Miss Moscato.
Were you guys in there?
No, we were in there at that time. Well, we weren't in there at that time. No, I heard about it later. I was not there to see it when it happened. Miss Moscato broke her leg. On one corner of our street, on San Fernando Road, there was a pickle factory where they made pickles and mustard. And we used to go down there and get big dill pickles and stuff. You know, they put the pickles in big barrels of pickles, you know. We'd get pickles out of there. And then farther
Would you
up
steal
the road, huh?
You'd steal them?
No, they'd give them to us, you know. We'd go down there, and farther up the road, there was a place that made, I think, furniture or something. One night it caught fire, and all the what they used to finish it, it went up in smoke. I remember that too.
Oh, you mean all the varnish and
Yeah,
stuff?
and farther up was a place called Taylor Mill, where they milled flour, made flour. It'd come in, see, it was right on the railroad tracks, and or near the railroad tracks. And they had a siding that came in and went in and picked up all the milled flour.